Yo, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of MRL Fastlane, here for episode 4, covering the most recent Cup race at Michigan. So, as we see right now, we have a bunch of storylines to go over. Some of them actually are actually championship defining. So, as I said, last Saturday, the Cup guys actually went to Michigan. My actual home track, and one of the tracks that is absolutely a blast to race. However, we had a bit of a conundrum with the guys. It was a blast to commentate, and usually Michigan provides some good racing. However, with the draft was so good. So we had a lot of different people actually go to and from, and we actually broke a record previously held by Charlotte for the Coke 600. In fact, actually, let me kind of go on back with that. For the Coke 600, we had 7 different leaders. This race, we had 9. So we blew that record out of the water. So here for race 8 at Michigan, we had a new record for people leading a lap, and that just showed how close these guys were. So we're going to kind of go through the race here as they were getting in line. We had 17 people actually join the lobby, with 2 people getting last place points. So let's kind of go on board and kind of see who had pole. Cyber, our current point leader, was on pole. He had Bass P2. So of course, you know, these two keeping each other in check. And by the way, the battle for pole was so close, being less than with 5 drivers all being within 1/10 of each other. That is incredibly close. B-Right, Brandon started P3, Xander P4, BD and P5, Liam, Tansby Vegas started P6, T-Bird P7, and we actually, you may notice that Deez, who is one of our Xfinity exclusive guys, he actually drives the 18 on Sunday, so you'll see him on track this Sunday at Bristol. He was using one of his hot seats, however, he was not able to make the race. So with him, if he would have made it, he would have made 18 drivers, but he didn't, so he gave up his 8th place spot to Goose. The 20 of Cade was not able to join us, so he got last place points. So Piper moved up 2 whole spots to P9. Agent Orange P10. Well, sorry, he would have had P10, but he also had to give up last place points. He was in Nashville, so he was watching the real life race as we were virtual racing. So he used one of his last place points, and Packers, they're lined up P10, Rockstar P11, UK Wildcats P12, Worst COD Player P13, Justin Shackett P14, Jagger P15, and then we kind of skip on down the list here to Joe. He actually made his 2nd race appearance, and that would be P16, and then we had our first-time racer, Nuka Bob Quantum. You may recognize that name from Giggity, or maybe even some of the Pro League races. He is a very talented racer, and he actually made his first race appearance with MRL here at Michigan. So let's kind of go through and show exactly kind of what happened. So we had everything kind of pretty nice, neat, and tidy. However, as we drop the green flag here, you can see exactly the amount of moves that people were already starting to put on. So Bass already trying to block the outside from Xander. Xander being kind of on the outside on his way in. You can see the mass gaggle of cars back. They're already going 3 wide. And this is just lap 1 of a 100-lap race. So, and then that just kind of show right there that people were getting loose coming off of 2, people getting loose coming off of 4, and just how tight the racing. Yep, there goes Justin Shackett right there. And then just the jockeying for position. This is going to be a recurring thing as the race goes on. 4 wide, in lap 1. So we're going to kind of skip on ahead to kind of show you as the racing kind of progressed. We had a grand total of 8 cautions for this race. We only use in-game. Right there, Cyber taking it 3 wide, and that's just par for the course for this race. So while it was an absolute pleasure right there, and just one mistake was actually able to pull up a really decent save. So we had a good time there. So it was like I said, it was like one of those races that was wonderful to commentate and watch. But in race, we hear from multiple guys, like Cyber commented on it, Rockstar commented on it, Brandon commented on it in the 17, saying that like, while it was fun to a certain degree when like pit stops kind of all came through, but like since there were so many cautions, the field was so stacked up, and it's just one mistake could potentially mean curtains for some. Not to mention we had a couple lag incidents as well, most notably from the 43 as well as the 17. So we are actually showing a potential use of the hey, get out of the lobby here with 3-strike rule. The 43 was on his second, I think, already like into like lap 20 or 30. You can see the spike right there. That's why I showed it, that we were on board with him to kind of see how the lag was progressing there. But kind of going through the race, it was pretty self-explanatory with the huge amount of runs that people were getting. It was hard to go anywhere. You had to really force it on down. You see the 4 of Joe totally trying to make his try to get to the front of the pack. Packer's doing his best up there. Then you see the 17 of Brandon kind of going wherever people aren't. It was so hard to pass, and I can totally understand it from a race perspective. We were on board with Packers here to kind of show how close the pack was. Jagger actually tagging the wall right there, and or the grass, sorry, and it just how it never really dwindled. Everyone, the draft was just so good that it eventually came about that as soon as people were starting to spread on out, that's when people were starting to have fun. So like BD right here, him and Cyber were like best friends. You had UK and Mopower Cat and the 21 that were tag teaming, and then you had the 22 and the 14 that were really working out well. And you can kind of see this progress a little bit as well as we go throughout the run. So right here we had, like I said, 8 cautions mixed in with about, I want to say, lag incidents as well as just people just making mistakes. But kind of skipping through all the run, most of these guys did have dial in their setups. You could tell the ones that were super fast. The one was super fast, 88. All these guys up here, I would probably say the people like mid-pack to like consistently 10th on back were the ones that were just like kind of hanging on, just quite didn't have their setup down. So you can see right there that like the people kind of nailing through the gears. I would say probably the 48 had some speed, but he just kept having problems. Same with the 17. The 3 also had a lot of mistakes, or things just not go his way. Not so much mistakes, but getting caught up in other people's mistakes is what I'm trying to say. Piper, who is pretty good at draft tracks, and Michigan is definitely one of those, just being constantly caught on the outside. Speaking of him, he actually had a... we had the clip of the week come from him, so we're going to be watching that here in a hot second. Yeah, going through the rest of the race, just kind of skipping on ahead here. It was pretty much self-evident who the fast guys were, as you can see, as the laps started dwindling down. The 21 had pace, 88, 4, 22, 18. All of these guys up here, the one right behind you saw, he all of these guys definitely were one of the ones to watch, and there's so many. Like I said, with 9 people leading a lap, that's a record of us here. And you know, leading a lap earns you 5 bonus points, so you definitely want to lead a lap, especially as we go into the closer regulation. We are indeed into the second, or sorry, the close to 50% done with the season here. Coming up at the end of this week, we are going to be halfway done with the season. That's going to be insane. So we're going to kind of skip on ahead here. This is Nathan actually chiming on in from the grandstands there over in Nashville. This is coming to the checkers right here. Rockstar being all the way down the apron, guarding the bottom. Xander had a run but was nowhere to go with it. Cyber there in P4, you may not have seen it. He actually was beaten out by the 18. Cyber lost his podium streak that he had since race 1. So it actually allows for the race results to actually now be shown. A lot of people had good days and a lot of people had bad days. There was just some that just got caught up in so many incidents that they were never really able to recover. Right here specifically. So let me kind of show exactly what I mean by that. You can see right here, this is the final run towards the checkered flag, and the field is so spread on out. There was a incident that people just could not come back from in the amount of time, and here we are. Rockstar got his second race win of the season with Xander coming up in P2. Like I said, the first 7 actually led a lap, so they all had 5 bonus points, and Justin Shaka was the only one that was not actually able to lead a lap. And then Brandon as well did not lead a lap. Liam actually was not able to lead a lap, but Jagger did. That's why he has 1 bonus point as opposed to Liam. But yeah, Rockstar P1, Xander P2, and number 1, making up a lot of points as he did. UK Wildcats in the 18 finished P3. That rounds out the podium. We've seen these guys on the podium together. Rockstar said in his, not Rockstar, UK said in his post-race interview that he had a very standard race, a very UK race, which is finishing P3, and I disagree. I feel like he had a dominant performance, especially as we see right here. Without the draft, he just would have pulled away. So I disagree with what he was saying. But Cyber finally breaks that podium streak, and as much as he's dismayed about it, the competition surely is relieved. Finishing P4, BD in P5. Nuka Bob in his first ever race finishes in P6, 1 spot close of P5. And then T-Bird in 7th and Justin Shack at P8. These two just cannot escape each other. These two are inseparable, and you'll see them in points, is that they've just been kind of following each other. They're best friends and also worst enemies at the same time. Liam and Brandon finishing 9th and 10th respectively. Jagger P11, Goose, US Trek Enterprise, Piper finishing 12th and 13th. Unfortunately, it just wasn't their race, and you could tell from the drop of the green that it just wasn't their day. Bassbuck, though, the big surprise here, finishing in P14, he was one of those that got caught out by that incident and slammed the outside wall, and here we are in P14. He lost so many points. 41 points, or sorry, 44. 44 points to Cyber here. And that is a lot to come up with. So Joe in his second start finishing P15. Packers is another one. P16, lost a lot of points to his competition. And unfortunately, that's just racing. You have good races. I'm going to go back to Kentucky here. He won based on fuel. Packers did. Now here we are in P16. He went from hero to 0 in 1 race, and that's just racing, unfortunately. You know, you got to be consistent, especially in a format that rewards consistency. Like I said, we are coming up on the halfway point of the season at the end of next race. it's go time for some of these people. Worst COD player finishing the last out of the runners, and then Cade and then Nathan here finishing 18th and 19th with their last place points. So with that being said, speaking of points, let's kind of go into how the point standings kind of shakedown out. The people that did run to like Joe, Nuka, Nuka, which literally went from 36 all the way to 26 there in the standings by his one race. He's actually a record for him, set by him right now for anyone in just their first race. So like 26 on back has been their first race. And he set the most points, so good job to him. Joe in his second race, 253. But Cyber, it totally extended that gap. He, with Bassbook having a bad day, he did not capitalize on his win last week. Bassbook did. Brandon, though, gained a little bit of points. So did BD and Rockstar, which is why they, with their good finishes, they gained one spot apiece. Xander, with missing that 1 week, is on his way back forward, finishing P2. Gained 2 spots, so weird how that works out. And then, much like Justin Shackett and T-Bird, who are down here, they've just been inseparable. Here they are in standings. Justin Shackett actually being the relegation line right now. 20 points separates 15th and 16th, so you want to be 15th and above, because that means that you're going to be in the Cup Series next season. But yeah, Liam is currently 100 and I almost did the math on that. 116 points off from the 15th, so he has a lot of work to do. But yeah, Pied Piper and Goose have been inseparable. Look at that. Separated by only 4 points, and they finished right behind each other, with Goose having the better of Pied Piper. So these two, you can tell, are going to be duking out for the rest of the season. But right now, as the points are being tallied and as the races kind of go on, we have a major battle here with second on back. So with everyone having their own woes to overcome, 120 points separates second through 9th. And you can even include UK in that, because he did miss a week as well. So like even 10th, only 150 points separate second to 10th. Meanwhile, Cyber is in that time frame that separates second to 10th, kind of shows that Cyber has a 181 point gap. He literally 181. That means I could show up, Bass could win the race, and I'd still be the point leader. So that just means that Cyber is setting himself up for a good season finish. And like I said, there is a major point battle between 15th and 16th on track, because 16th on back means you're getting relegated to Xfinity. 15th forward means you're remaining in Cup. So definitely a lot of things to play for, especially as we move to the next race at Bristol. However, that means that we have to look at stats here. With how everything kind of shook on out with Michigan, we had Cyber actually take the average finish spot, who used to have it from Bass, but his terrible position in P16 P14 this race just demolished that and dropped it. So he took the best average finish. Meanwhile, the average start, despite having a pole with Xander, what kind of did him in so far has been this P6 at Kentucky. However, he still has the best average start. So the main people to watch, and this is where I'm going to go into the power rankings now. I don't actually have cards for this, so I'm just going to say, I say that Xander is the number one. He's the hottest on the market right now. And the reason why is he showed speed where everyone had speed. And that's just double speed. If you can show speed where everyone has speed, I think that means that you are definitely the one to watch, especially as we go into the next race being Bristol. That's one of his wheelhouses. I consider Xander to be the #1 pick, and I think he's going to gain a lot of points on his competition as we go forward. So, despite him being P7 in the standings right now, I expect and I predict that he's probably going to go to P5 in the standings post Bristol. So Xander, #1 on the list. Number two in the power rankings. I think Cyber took that spot. So he was 3rd in the rankings last week, and I moved him up a place. So I think Cyber, despite having his podium streak wrecked this week, I think in a race where Bass had a bad race, Packers had a bad race, and Brandon had a decent race but not amazing, he had a P4 position. And I think because of that, having consistency and also having the fact that you could just not show up in 1 week and still have the point lead, I think that's amazing. I think that's enough for P2. And also, Bristol is one of his better tracks, so definitely be on the lookout for him as we move to Bristol. Now, speaking of Bristol, I think number 3 has to be Rockstar. Now, don't let these stats fool you. He rarely qualifies. In fact, actually, I'm kind of go on down here and show. He's right here. When he does qualify, so like these 3 weeks, doesn't qualify. When he does qualify, he's in the top 5. Right here. These are the 2 weeks at Talladega and Watkins Glen he actually put down a lap. These other 6, though, he has not. So don't let that qualifying position fool you. And the same thing with the average finishing as well. When he does finish, he finishes well. These 2, he had to not lag out. He had to leave early because of he does have a kid. And then right here, 16th, 16th, and 12th. Just when you have to leave early, you have to leave early. But the races he does finish, he's also in the top 5. So because of that, I think especially when he does start, he starts well, and when he does finish, he finishes well. And at Bristol, I feel like you have to have that level of showing up, that level of hey, I'm here to win, let's go get it. So I think he is our number 3, and also the fact that even though not that, my bad. Even though he finished number 1, getting his 2nd win of the season, if we move to the points real quick, he's P5 in the standings. So that means just being consistent. When you finish well, he gets P5 very handily. So yeah, Rockstar 3rd in the power rankings. Now, P4 in the power rankings, I'm going to put to Brandon. Bristol, and I'm putting this purely because of how good he is at Bristol. Don't let the lack of a podium and wins fool you, and just the one top 5, but the rest of it has been top 10s. He's been very consistently running 6th to 8th, with Michigan being the one time that he's finished 9th. Actually, let me kind of show. See, 6th, 8th, 11th, 10th, 7th, 7th, 4th. There's the top 5, and then P9. Consistently running like 6th to 8th, with the 2 outliers being that Adega and Michigan. I consider Brandon to be the number 4 pick because, like I said, Bristol is one of his wheelhouses. If you have seen from Private Patton, hey, that's me, by the way, in case you guys didn't know, POV at Bristol, he's always up there. Kind of join the likes of Xander and Bassbuck down here, Cade as well. I think Brandon's going to be the one to watch, especially come Bristol. As much as I wish I could show you guys the qualifying positions, it's going to be close, is what I'll say. So look for him at Bristol, and that's why I consider him the number 4 pick. And then P5 in the standings, I'll probably have to move BD up here. Again, his average start eclipses his average finish. Don't let this fool you as well, because if we go to the points, which is right here, BD's 4th in the standings. He's been solid. He's been solidly in the top 5 for weeks and weeks and weeks now. And his P5 in the race, much like Xander's here, a P5 showing speed where everyone has speed is pretty dang good. So, yeah, I think BD, especially with Bristol being a decent track for him, I think he's going to be one to watch out for. And I think potentially getting his 3rd top 5 and his 7th top 10. Improving that 8th average finishing position to roughly... I'll say 7.5. Dark horses. I consider Cade to be one of the dark horses. Cade is really good at Bristol. It's one of his best tracks in the entire game. I think with how Cade performs, when he doesn't use one of his last place points, which is used 5 so far, when he doesn't use it, he finishes inside the top 10, with the Charlotte being the one outlier. 7th and a 6th place results him in a P12 position, with the others being last place points. But I think Bristol is going to be that race where he is going to be the one to join the likes of Xander, potentially Bass as well. I think he'll be up there, is what I'm saying. So watch for him to get this little notch right here in the wins column. And I think the other dark horse people to watch out for as we go to Bristol, I think Nathan, like I said, despite not having top 5s and top 10s, he's been practicing Bristol. He's looking for a good finish here, much like Cade. Given the right set of circumstances, with 250 laps with no guaranteed yellows, a single mistake can cost you the race. Bristol's a short track where you run 15-second laps. One mistake is going to take you out. So I think with that being said, Nathan is going to be the one to watch, especially as we see him in close to the cut line in P11. With his did not start in Michigan, he's kind of inching close to that 15th place. However, I don't think he'll get there. And I think because of that, Nathan is going to be the one to watch as we go to Bristol. So, much like I promised, real quick, we are going to move to the the social media, because the clip of the week has to be from Pied Piper here, who had a lovely shot of, to kind of give you guys some pretense with how close the racing is. Look how tight that is right there. Having Bass on the outside, he makes a wonderful save. So while Piper captured it, Bass probably has the clip of the week right here. Look, hang on 1 second. Coming towards the top, the 17 and the 47 make contact. We're going to rewind that for a hot second. Look at this. We're going to be watching this in slow-mo. The 17 and the 47 make contact. The 47 bounces off the one right there, and the 47 saves it. How did he do that? Literally, as a title, how did you save this? From the top right here. So the 17 goes and hits the grass, and he's down there. I don't think the 47 realizes he's down there. So he comes on down thinking the hole's open. The 17 comes on up, and then that puts the 1 into the wall. But absolutely just godlike. So Piper, thank you so much for saving that. That is awesome to see. I think that is one of the best things we have seen here on the clip of the week. So we're gonna wrap this segment up with where we are at and what we are doing. For this week, we are at the Cup Series on Saturday for the Bristol Night Race. So the Bristol Night Race right here. And then the Xfinity Series is coming back for this week because last week was Father's Day. The Sunday Series is going to be also at Bristol, as well as the Monday Series also at Bristol. So the every single series is at Bristol this week, so it's going to be a fun one. I can't wait to color commentate it. So thank you everyone to watch that is watching this right now. You guys are a pleasure, and I will see you on track this weekend, starting on Saturday, going to Sunday, and then Monday. You guys have a good one. This has been Private Patton signing out. Peace.